question in the chat if you will receive a copy of the slideshow at the end. No, it would be helpful for you to take notes during the presentation so you can kind of stay on track with anything that you might be curious about. Without further ado, I'll pass it over to Salma and I'll mute myself and I'll keep an eye out.
Hi, Sam.
Hi. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Hello, everyone. My name is Salma Rahwan, and I'm a banking advisor newcomer specialist at the RBC Ontario North and East Newcomers team. So today's presentation will be it's going to be a career information session and a panel discussion. So I'm going to start off by doing a presentation about working at RBC. I'm going to talk about RBC's core values, vision, and purpose. I'll also talk about some statistics about employment at RBC, what different departments we have at RBC, and then focusing more on the personal and commercial banking side of business. I'll talk about the different roles that we have and what are the requirements to join these roles. And after I'm done with my part of the presentation, I'll pass it over to our panelists today. So we have Zaid, who's going to be our first panelist, and he's the newcomer specialist team manager. And we have Adham, who's a assistant branch manager, and Oliver, who's a branch manager. They'll share a bit about their stories, how they landed their first job at RBC, their career journey in Canada as newcomers. And then after that part, we'll have a Q&A session where you guys can ask any questions you may have to our panelists and about the presentation. And yeah, that is really it. So let's get started. So starting off, our purpose, vision, and values. So our purpose is helping clients thrive and communities prosper. RBC's vision is to be among the world's most trusted and successful financial institutions. So with clients' expectations shifting in today's digital world, we've been on a journey to transform our bank by leveraging new technologies and creating an exceptional digital client experience. And this is only part of our strategy. So as you can see on the screen, we have 5 core values. Our first one is client first. So what we mean by client first is we will always earn the right to be our client's first choice, and we will always put our client's needs first. And then we have collaboration. So something that we like to say at RBC is we win as one RBC. And that means we'll collaborate with all the different departments at RBC to provide our clients with the best possible solution for their needs. And then we have accountability. So we take ownership for personal and collective performance. Then we have diversity and inclusion. So we embrace diversity for innovation and growth. And lastly, we have integrity. So we hold ourselves to the highest standards to build trust for our clients. So on the screen here, we have some statistics about employment at RBC. So RBC is the largest bank in Canada, and it's one of the top 10 globally. We're also the #1 AI maturity in financial services in Canada and #3 globally. We are operating in 36 countries. RBC has over 97,000 employees. We also have over 17 million clients across a diversified mix of businesses. And RBC is known to make donations, sponsorships, and community investments. So we make over $100 million of those. Okay. So I just shared a bit about RBC as an organization. So this slide is really important because it talks about the different segments that we have at RBC. So there are 8 departments under the RBC umbrella, which perform as separate entities. Me assist with basic banking transactions such as deposits, withdrawals, account inquiries, bill payments, money transfers, international money transfers, and so on. Client advisors also identify opportunities to educate clients about different RBC products and services, and they also refer them to specialists if they have more complex needs that they can't assist with. So basically what the client advisor role emphasizes is it emphasizes relationship building, problem solving, and providing a welcoming experience, and it makes it an excellent starting point for those who would like to pursue a career in banking. So unlike the other roles in the personal banking department, the client advisor role is the only role that doesn't require any certifications. And this role is also one of the only roles that is available in part-time and full-time. However, if you do start a part-time position, you do have to be available full-time for the first 6 weeks because the role has 6 weeks of full-time training when you first start. So after the client advisor position, we have the banking advisor position. So the banking advisor role focuses on building strong client relationships to provide tailored financial advice and solutions, including like banking, lending, investment products, and so on. So basically what the banking advisors do is they assist clients with financial planning, budgeting, fraud prevention while also delivering customer service to our clients. They identify opportunities to recommend suitable products and for our clients, and they address client concerns, promote financial literacy for our clients. So the banking advisor role needs strong communication, sales, and problem-solving skills. So with these skills, the banking advisor plays a key role in helping clients achieve their financial goals. So unlike the client advisor role, the banking advisor role does require you to get a specific certification, which is called the Investment Funds in Canada certificate, which you can obtain through the Canadian Securities Institute website. Haley will send you guys the links to all the different certifications and links I talk about after the presentation. So this role is only available in full-time, and it has 36 weeks of full-time training. So after doing the banking advisor and the client advisor role, as you see on the screen, you can join, you can either take the most common route and move to a financial advisor role, or you can move to something called a group advisor role, which is basically advisors that assist employers with their employees' benefit plans, or you can move to a mortgage specialist assistant role or investment retirement planner assistant. So if you take the most common route that we see where people move to a financial advisor role, the financial advisor helps clients with investments, wealth management, planning. They also provide advice on lending while building long-term client relationships. So the financial advisor also needs their investment funds in Canada certification, in addition to another certificate, which is called the Financial Planning One. And again, both these certificates are offered on the Canadian Securities Institute website. So by becoming a banking advisor and financial advisor, you are exposed to like working with all the different business lines that we have. So like credit, investments, or business banking or leadership. So after doing these roles, this is where we follow your interest and choose your next career path. So we either have relationship sales roles, which includes financial planners and business account managers, or we have career sales roles, which includes investment specialists, which we call investment retirement planners, and mortgage specialists. On the other hand, we also have branch management or leadership roles. So if you have great people skills and are interested more in like a management or a leader role, you can start off by becoming an assistant branch manager and then move on to a branch manager after. So in a nutshell, these are the most common retail branch positions that we have. I'll now hand it over to our panelists who can tell you guys more about their career journeys in Canada and how they landed their first role at RBC. So our first panelist is Zaid. Gonna mute myself so you guys can hear him well. I think Zaid is on the call. I'm not sure. You see. Yes.
I see him on the call. Yeah.
Could be his mic is not working.
Can you hear me now? No?
Yes, I
Yes?
can hear.
Awesome.
Yes.
I was navigating my microphone, but we are connected now. So thank you, Hedy, and thank you, Salma. Hello, everyone. My name is Zaid, and I'm so grateful to be here today. So I'm going to share a bit about my story. So I came to Canada in 2012 from Amman, Jordan, with my family, and what it was like to start over, and what I've learned, and what I would share with anyone going through this journey is what I'm going to be talking about today. So I did move to Canada to study at Carleton University with all intentions to go back home. I was excited, but I also was a bit emotional as I was leaving my hometown, leaving behind my extended family and everything familiar to me. So I landed in Ottawa, and right away I realized I was going to be a whole new world for me. Not just the snowstorms, but also the way school worked, the culture, and everything. I wasn't used to anything like that, and coming here, everything was basically new to me. So as I started my university degree, in my first semester, I was hit with my biggest curveball, I would say. I got kicked out of my program, and not because I failed. I was actually the one person amongst my friends that actually passed 9 out of 10 courses during this year. But because of a transfer credit that I got from my A levels, which is the IGCSE program back home, the British program, I didn't meet the GPA for a second year standing student. And as soon as I opened my decision from Carleton University, I saw continue and alternate. And that to me meant good to go. So I thought I'm good. I actually celebrated with my friends. We went out drinking, and but a few days after, reality hit hard, and I realized that continue and alternate meant you need to find a new program. So that moment had me questioning everything. Do I belong here? Did I make the right choice by coming to study here? It was a last minute call. I actually registered in a university in Jordan, and a week before it started, I decided to move to Canada. So how would I tell my parents that I got kicked out? It was tough. I had only been here for a few months. Winter was just about to start. I can see the snow, and it felt like everything was falling apart to me. But instead of giving up, I looked up for a solution. I spoke with my academic advisors at the university, who made a plan to connect me with the dean. After a few meetings, they ultimately decided not to allow me to drop this transfer credit and continue in my program. So I really had to choose something different. So instead of studying business, I decided to pivot and then study economics, because I've always liked numbers, and I thought this might be the best thing that actually relates to business at the same time, can potentially get me into banking. Um, then came the hard part, which I thought would be super difficult, telling my parents. I was very nervous, expecting a lot of disappointment from my family. But that was the surprise moment to me, where my dad actually surprised me. He encouraged me, told me this new path would also lead me to something great. And the conversation changed everything for me. And if you don't know anything about Arab parents, they want you to go get your certificate, in period. And I wasn't a doctor, I wasn't an engineer. So to them, that I thought this would be difficult. So hearing that support meant the world to me at the time. So that was my turning point. I put my head down, focused on school, and graduated in 4 years with honor. So what I'd like to share with you here is determination is key, with the right support. But then came a new challenge. I wanted to find a job. I did not do co-op or internships, had zero Canadian experience as I was hitting the job market. And every time I applied, I just kept getting rejected and rejected every time, including the RBC positions, and not one, not two, probably about 10 that I actually got declined for. My sister actually worked at RBC at the time, and she was pivoting from commercial banking in Jordan with a global organization, yet had to restart. So I went and sought her suggestions and feedback. She was my first mentor. Um, and she managed to connect me with one of the branch manager with RBC who declined me in the past, declined me again, but just for feedback. And I went and asked them for feedback on how can I get a job with RBC. And at the time, they said, you need some experience. Go get some sales experience. Any sales job, doesn't matter what it is, even if you're selling vegetables, like just go get sales experience. And that's where I pivoted and went looking basically any sales job that is posted on Indeed, on LinkedIn, on any platform that I could think of, and kept applying, got rejected until I met one person in a store, and we got chatting, and apparently he was the team lead with the mobile shop. So a mobile multi-carrier company that has a kiosk inside a Loblaw store. And as we got chatting, he offered me the job on the spot. So that was my first sales job. In that role, I learned how to sell phone plans. It's a fast-paced environment. They had a goal of hitting 40 sales per month, which makes you hit expert status. So I aimed for that. So aiming big. And within 4 months in the role, I hit expert status, and that gave me confidence that I didn't know I had. And that's when I was like, okay, maybe now it's time. I'm gonna reach out to Helen, the manager with RBC, who told me to go get the sales experience, and let her know. So I stayed connected with Helen, sent her an email to say, just letting you know, I've got my sales experience that you asked me for, not 6 months, but I'm trending towards. I just hit expert status. And long story short, Helen reached out to me and got me an interview with two other amazing RBC leaders that are now my coaches. And that was a full circle for me. Being able to pivot and change, having setbacks, and then getting this offer from RBC was a dream come true. Something I was sharing earlier, but I come from a family of bankers. My dad, my mom, my aunt, my aunt's husband, my sisters are all in banking. So for me, banking was a thing. I wanted to be in banking, not an accidental banker like many of my colleagues. Today, I'm a senior leader with RBC in the Ottawa core market. I've done over the past 9 years, I've worked in every branch role. I had the chance to lead, grow, and learn from amazing mentors along the line, some family members and colleagues as well. I've built skills that I never thought I'd build and doubted that I would. One of them is presenting to a group of individuals, whether virtually or in person. Communications was the big thing, coming with English as a second language. I've spoken to crowds. The most recent one was 250 people in attendance. And I'll be speaking on the Parliament Hill next month as well. So things that I never expected that I would be doing. One thing I didn't get used to until now is Canadian winters. But I feel fully settled, proud, and deeply grateful for where I am today. What I would share with you as newcomers or seeking jobs in the Canadian job market is surround yourself with people who would lift you up. Don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. Network and put yourself in situations where you're really uncomfortable. Take risks early as well. There's a lot less downside if you take risks early. And you never know with these networking events, and as you talk to people about your story, how opportunities do come usually. And I can tell you, as a hiring manager, my last 6 hires were not people that applied to the job, were people that I actually spoke with from networking events and job fairs. So yes, we still posted. There's probably 250 candidates that apply, but the selected candidate was not even someone that actually applied to the posting. So just remember that networking and being in person is a lot more impactful than sitting behind the screen and just hitting the apply button. So definitely keep putting yourself out there. And most importantly, as you come, be kind to yourself. You're adapting, you're learning, you're building from scratch in a new country. Remember the transferable skills that you learned in previous experiences, maybe in school, and make sure you give yourself credit for everything you've done. I think I look back at my journey and everything I went through, the doubts, the cold winters, the hard-earned wins, the setbacks, really shaped who I am today. It gave me perspective, resilience, and deep passion for supporting others as well in their journey, which is why I'm here today. I've been a big supporter of the RBC newcomers team before leading the team. And at some point, it was presented to me as a golden opportunity for me to come and lead this amazing team. So again, build your brand, your personal brand, who you are, stick to your core values, and make sure that you're staying true to that and being authentic and being yourself. So from the Ottawa Newcomers Council to leading the team has been absolutely rewarding, and being able to connect with newcomers like you. I know how important it is to feel seen, supported, and connected. So through your settlement and beyond is definitely something that we really care about here at RBC. And for me, it is personal, as I've lived it. I've been in your shoes before. And I know sharing my story, even if it helps one person feel a little more hopeful or less alone, then to me, I've done my job. So stay connected. Make sure that you put yourself out there. I would say change is the only constant, and you need to get used to being uncomfortable as you grow and step into a new role. I do have LinkedIn. If you guys want to connect with me, feel free. Virtual coffees, whichever you think you need, feel free to join in. I know we've got two other panelists that have amazing, in my opinion, more impactful stories to share with Adham and Oliver. So Salma, I'll pass it back to you to pick who's going to go next.
Yeah.
So thank you for having me again today.
Thank you, Zaid, for sharing your story. It was very inspiring. I'll pass it over to Adham now to share a bit about his story as well. And yeah.
Awesome. Can everybody hear me okay? Mic's
Yes.
working? Perfect. So hi, everyone. My name is Adam. I am an assistant branch manager in the Peterborough area. I work in one of the large RBC branches over here. I'm also a co-chair of the newcomer committee in our market, the Kawartha Lakes market. It's a smaller but mighty market that is kind of like in between Oshawa and Ottawa. I've been with RBC now for a little over 4.5 years. I came to Canada 6 years ago, peak COVID time, January 2020, not fun, but we're here right now. So everything has, the universe has a way of working out in a way. I've been in banking since graduation. I've studied business, majored in marketing back home where I'm from in Egypt. I also hold a master's degree in the same field. So my story started in 2012, working in a French bank in Egypt at the time as a junior customer service representative. I got married in the same year. In 2013, I had my first kid. I enjoy working in banking. I've done my part, and it's always nice to be in front of people and provide them with solutions that better their life and spur them forward. The reason why I came to Canada, and I'm going to share this story, but it's not a sad one, is in 2015, I guess, 2016, my child got a very rare form of cancer, and she was unable to be helped back home. Healthcare is not up to the required standards to take care of her very rare condition. And so during that time, obviously, my life flipped over, and I had to try and seek out options. And that was the only thing that I woke up and went to sleep at night thinking about. I was able to, with some help of connections and some people that I know, to be able to get her the help that she needed in the US. During that time, Like my wife would be with her in the hospital where I'm outside. I already decided I can't go back. I need to make sure that this doesn't happen again, or if something happens in the future, that she would get the adequate support that she would need. And so I was speaking to lawyers left and right. So my wife would be at the hospital. I'm out there meeting lawyers back to back, different firms, different places all over. I also had my second child, which we were not able to take with us on that trip because she was only 3 months old, and we weren't able to get her passport or her visa on time. So I had to leave her behind to my parents. And so it was obviously a very, very tough situation to be in for anyone. But thank God I was able to help her get the help that she needed. And she's okay now. She's 12 and a half. And a couple of days from now, she's going to be on stage performing Rock of Ages, if anyone is familiar with that. So because she's a great singer and dancer. So I'm very blessed. My research and investigations kind of led me to where I am today, and the winds guided me to Canada. So similar to Zaid's story, I wrapped up everything and I said goodbye to the life I knew. The funny part is that I wasn't even in Egypt when I was supposed to land in Canada immediately. I was working for a little over a year in Dubai and Abu Dhabi and UAE. So I had literally 3 days to go back home, pack whatever I can pack, and leave. So I said goodbye to my the life as I know it, and I came to Canada, not knowing what I'm supposed to do. I stayed in, like, the number of Airbnbs that I stayed in the first year is is hilarious. So I did that, and then shortly after, I decided applying to jobs, obviously left and right, everything that I can get my hands on. I sought out the YMCA in the GTA region, as I've seen that they have some sort of, like, newcomer program, mentorship programs, and things like that. I enrolled myself. I spoke to recruiters, but because of it was COVID, like literally a month and a half before I landed. Lockdowns, companies layoffs. It was very messy, and a lot of companies did not know how to navigate that in the beginning. I still remain positive. I signed probably 2 contracts that were canceled before I even joined because we're navigating COVID. I did not give up because to me there was no option to give up. That you have a plan, you have a future, and you have people to take care of. The only way is forward. A lot of people that I know get into the trap of always comparing where I was and how I lived with what I'm doing right now and what the future may be. Is this the right decision? Is this the wrong decision? Well, right or wrong, you have to make it work. And I've always had that mentality. And I just kept applying. I wasn't able to hold jobs. For some jobs I was fired from 2 weeks in. Some jobs I was fired in 2 months in, and a very particular job that I had held before Royal Bank, that I was extremely overperforming in, and I was very, very happy and feeling fulfilled. I still ended up getting laid off because at the time, non-essential workers were not allowed to be on the premises. So what the company did was pretty much lay off their entire teams, pretty much from the GTA all the way to Belleville and Brighton. So that's the story, and that's what happened. Shortly after, I continued staying focused. I continued job hunting. I continued speaking to different recruiters and finding ways that I can improve and what can I do differently. One recruiter in particular was able to set me up with an informational interview with a community manager and a branch manager, or an assistant branch manager, I believe at the time, from Royal Bank. And I asked the recruiter, sorry, what the hell is an informational interview? Like, what do people do? Like, is this like a regular interview? And she told me, no, this is an interview where you go in asking the questions. well, I want to get hired. So how does this help me? And so I had to strategize. Like I had to think, how can I utilize that to kind of give them an idea of my capabilities and what I'm able to do? How can I leave an impression? And what I did was I prepared some questions. Obviously, I asked about the company as a whole. I asked about a day in the role of X position or Y position, and like what are their like targets and what is the goals that they aim to work for. And as they spoke, I found small bits and pieces of opportunity to showcase what my knowledge and my experience and what I'm capable of. And I took advantage of that. By the end of that informational interview, I had one question that was not prepared and that I did not go over with my recruiter. And that question was, so since you guys mentioned a few good things about me today, I'm only curious, like how come I never got a chance at an interview? And my recruiter felt that was extremely professional. I'm not gonna lie, she's not wrong. But when I asked that question, I was also surprised to hear a very, very good answer. And that was that during that time, one job goes live as a posting, and the next thing you know, within 30 minutes, there's more than 600, 700 candidates that have already applied. There may be 2, 3 people working in the background to screen those resumes. There may be a lot of things that we don't know about that was happening. So Zaid mentioned that he's hired people in person. And that's something that we do. Like we walk around, we go places, restaurants, stores, hotels, and we meet people every day. And the ones that stand out are always offered a card and saying, hey, if you ever consider a career in banking, give me a call. And then we can sit down and chat. So they gave me a very good answer. And I kept thinking, okay, if I'm working on this and I have 2 people on me, how long will it take me to go through 600, 700 resumes and it's still building? That's just within 30 minutes. How long, how many days that I'm going to leave my work and my operations and my teams to take a look at that? And then I realized, okay, it makes sense now. So I thought this was a me problem. It's not actually a me problem. It's just opportunity. Now, and perseverance and resilience and not giving up and saying, oh, I applied to RBC 19 times. 19 times I've applied to RBC before I got one interview. To the point that I was like, what's wrong with my resume? Let's change it up. Because I never say, okay, this is done. Like, what can I do differently? So other people are getting interviews. Who are they and how are they like for them to get an interview and I don't? Like, how can I improve in any way possible? So I did my informational interview and they said, they thanked me and they asked me to connect with them on LinkedIn, which I did. And then a few months down the line, now that they know me, I got a call and they said, we have a position. We would like you to apply for it. I applied for that position. I interviewed for an hour and 50 minutes. I still did not get the job. And then a month later, I got another phone call for a different city, a city that I have to commute to probably an hour daily, right, in each direction. And that interview was literally 50 minutes. And they said, it's just the first of a few more. We're going to get back to you. And I said, okay. But the next day, while I was pretty much asleep, my phone rang. I picked up the phone and I was offered the job. So they decided they're not even going to continue interviewing. They just gave me the job. And immediately my answer was yes. I don't think I heard the package or the compensation or discussed everything at this point. Let's get it. And that's what happened. And I started working in Bowmanville and I started commuting there every day. And every day I would walk in, I wanted to outwork everybody. No one is going to work harder than me. Not a single person. I'm going to show what I'm made of and I'm going to show why this is going to work. And I insisted on it and I kept doing it so well for the longest time ever. I had bad days and I had good days just like everybody else. But no matter what, like I just wake up the next day and I look at that day like it's day number 1 every single day. I never get complacent. I never get into a position where I feel my job is safe or secure. I always focus on outperforming everybody and always putting in the work. I did that for about a year before I was offered the opportunity to work from Peterborough, which is where I live, pretty close to home. So I took that. I joined as a banking advisor intern to banking advisor. And even though there's a little position between, not really little, but a significant one between banking advisor and leadership, I was still offered a chance to become an assistant branch manager intern. Within 6-7 months, I was able to cement my position as assistant branch manager. And now I'm co-chair of the newcomer committee in my region, and I work very closely with Zaid, Selma, and Anam and others that, are passionate about helping newcomers and giving guidance and advice to great people and great minds and people with a lot of experience and knowledge and so much potential. Whereas we may not have had the best help ever, we would like to be that for you guys and others. And we continue to be that. And I want to ask every one of you to do something, if possible. Help someone, just one person, anybody at all, any experience that you go through, anything that you learn. Do not take that and save it to yourself only. Share it with someone, whether they're a newcomer or someone who's struggling to get a job or anybody in need. If you help one person every day, I believe in good karma. It's going to come back to you 100%. And the other thing that I wanted to say, and I will actually ask that question to the whole room, is anybody familiar with something called the Pike syndrome or the Pike effect? I can't see hands, so if anyone wants to just jump in and share, go ahead.
If Oliver is saying no, it's highly unlikely.
Come on, I was gonna say, tell us, Adam, what is the Pike effect?
Okay, because I wanted to say the story anyway, so thank you, Oliver. So the Pike effect, a group of scientists built an aquarium. And then they split the aquarium in half by a glass panel. So on one side, they put lots of small feeder fish. And on the other side of the glass panel, they put they put a pike, a very mean fish, right? So the pike can see the feeder fish, and it's so hungry, it keeps going and smashing against the glass, recoils and tries again and tries again and tries again because it wants to feed. But it started getting bruises, scratching its scales, and eventually it stopped. What the scientists did next was they removed the glass panel and they wanted to see what would happen. So the feeder fish stayed on one side. They were scared to get anywhere near the pike, but the pike never attacked. And then they started getting comfortable with the pike being in the aquarium. They weren't scared of it anymore. They would swim around it, brush against it. The pike never opened its jaws. And eventually the pike starved and died. So obviously, other than the obvious, which is don't be a pike, the moral of the story is that you can try hard and things may not work out. And you can have that feeling that, okay, I've tried, this is not working out, and you give up. But then the second you give up, the opportunity presents itself, but you're not seeing it anymore because in your mind, it's finished. You have now a mental block, and you've given up, and now you're thinking about your old life or other opportunities or something like that. You don't realize that the opportunity is right there in front of your face. So it's just a nice example on not giving up and continuing to be resilient. And lots of newcomers think that they're not good enough. They're not, they have an accent, or, they're not great at public speaking, or the communication, there might be some issues, or they don't really understand the culture whatsoever. Well, everybody can learn and everybody can be self-aware, and that's very, very important. It's something that is very important that will help each and every single one of you in your lives, is knowing what your core competencies are, your competitive advantages, and what are your weaknesses. Everybody has them. And before you address your advantages or core competencies, you're already good at that stuff, right? So that's not what you need to address. What you need to address is your weaknesses. How can I get better? How can I become better? Being open to feedback, being open to coaching, being open to every opportunity every person, every interaction, you're learning something. It will go a long way. Thank you very much. I guess this is my story, and send it back to Selma to give it to Oliver. Nice
Thank you.
meeting you all.
Thank you, Adam, for sharing your story. It was very inspiring. I'll pass it over to Oliver now to share a bit about his story as well.
Hi, everybody. One, I wanted to say thank you for Adam and Zaid for sharing their stories that I thought was really vulnerable, and you really showed us what grit meant throughout all of your challenges. I'm so proud to be a part of the team that involves you guys. I'm also super grateful for the opportunity to speak this morning about my own experience. My experience is going to be a reflection that I've had with my years as a newcomer dealing with the challenge of change. And this is painfully relevant now because of what's happening around the world. We have war, we have tariffs, we have climate, we have supply chain disruptions. It seems like the world order is rearranging itself around us, and everything is becoming more expensive. And still, you're here trying to get your opportunity to get your foot through the door of an organization or a profession that's going to help you find a strong sense of purpose. But I wanted to start off by saying that I am a strong believer, that though all of these things are challenging, we have the ability to evolve, and that my personal journey of growing into a leader that inspires with humility, empathy, and inclusion is a testament to what that evolution you can bring can impact the way that your future will turn out. I'm going to take you back to 2016. It was 7:45 at the best, and only Tim Hortons of Drumheller, Alberta, Canada's very own Dinosaur Valley. The morning rush was in full swing. Sleepy customers were whizzing through the drive-through window. I heard a voice in my mind, a minute for every car. A complicated choreography of taking orders, counting change, and handing out drinks all at the same time had been perfected by months of routine. This wasn't the life I'd imagined, yet I knew it could have been much worse. Like so many, my family left the Philippines with the hope of finding greener pastures. After decades of building their careers, my parents took the risk of leaving their jobs, selling all that we had, and borrowing significantly to make our move possible. I said goodbye to my friends, my career opportunities, the solemnity of rainy days, the warm and the bright sunshine, and all I had come to know as home. We arrived in Calgary at midnight in minus 30 weather and drove an hour and a half in darkness to brave the unknown. Everything was different. The sky seemed blacker, the days were shorter, and the cold, it was colder. But I forged on. I reminded myself that loss was nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight. I knew I had to adapt quickly and demonstrate flexibility. So with resumes printed and a pitch rehearsed, I knocked on the doors of every business in town. But my foreignness seemed to relegate my education and experience glaringly unfit. I questioned my family's decision and started to doubt myself. There was a place for me in this new reality, but only a place where others of the same foreignness belonged. I forged on, and I tried articulating a path to uncertainty. I recalled thinking to myself, what stands in the way eventually becomes the way. Filipinos abroad give up their time with family to serve strangers. Filipinos abroad go into service work. So into service work I went. Like my parents, I worked 2 jobs, grinding for 12 hours. I cleaned bathrooms, I fixed beds, I vacuumed floors, I stirred coffee, I baked cookies and threw out the trash. In one instance, I even jumped into a dumpster to recover something I had accidentally thrown out. I literally felt like trash. But in the thick of my pivot, the seasons changed. The sky was brighter, the days got longer, and the cold disappeared. With the seasons, I also changed. By focusing on the things I could control, I discovered a new kind of warmth. For immigrants, foreignness goes both ways. You feel foreign, and everything is foreign to you. But in Filipino culture, there's a concept called pakikipagkapwa-tao. It refers to our ability to care for each other, that a part of who I am is my neighbor. It occurred to me that I may be foreign to them, but nobody is foreign to me. Strangers are my neighbors, and foreignness is my strength. This made me responsible for promoting inclusion and diverse perspectives everywhere I went. Change reveals what you don't need and gives you a chance to choose what it is that you do. By being purposefully curious and innovative, I reinvented myself. I didn't lose my old home. Like many Filipinos, I chose to become a home for others. It was 7:45 at the Tim Hortons drive-thru. One of my regulars was passing by for her usual. She commended my customer service and asked if I would be interested to work at the Royal Bank. 8 years later, that regular is now a close friend and colleague. So many things have changed, and yet some things stayed the same. To this day, every client that walks through the door is my neighbor. I never stopped being a home for others. This wasn't the life I had imagined. It's even better. Thank you so much for letting me share my experience.
Thank you everyone for sharing your experiences. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so I can see you guys finally. I'll now open it up for the questions and we'll have our panelists answer them. Haley, I'm not sure if there are any questions in the chat because we can't see them.
Yeah, there's only been one question about IT roles, and I mentioned that the IT roles are corporate, so these roles are typically located in Toronto or Montreal, and that this presentation was more focused on retail banking. And then she just said she would take a look online for the IT roles. But jump in if I've missed anything there. And I've also received a lot of thank yous in the chat for all three of the presentations. So and sharing of your stories. But does anyone else have any questions? You button at the bottom, or there's the question availability in the chat. We have a quiet group today. Others said, thanks for the inspiring. It's very inspiring to hear your stories and perspectives. Definitely really helpful for those who are, restarting their lives maybe and needing to hear that motivation and perseverance. A quiet group today. Oh, okay. Yay. Daniel.
Hi there. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi there. Sorry. So when applying for jobs online, would you recommend going into different RBC branches in person and talking to the people there for added help for see what they're looking for in employees and hiring and all that stuff?
I can take this one, guys, if you like.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so hi, nice to meet you, Dan, and thank you for your question. We most definitely recommend that you visit the branches so that you can get to position yourself in person. Please make sure that you prepare your resume, and please also be prepared to be interviewed. We don't always have the time. The branches are very busy, but should you find that there's a opportunity for someone to be able to get to know you better, you hopefully will have the chance to make your entry official online and still have brand recall with your submission in person. The brand recall, furthermore, may end up being a leverage piece for you to be introduced to other branches. If the interview goes well during that interaction, the branch manager may end up having you having your resume sent to our pipeline, for which there may be opportunities currently posted or opportunities in the future. It's also really important to understand that your primary advantage in any job selection process is the strength of your network. You may apply severally for a long period of time for many opportunities at our organization, but that is not as good as if you were actually someone that managers already know, if you're attending networking events, or if you're constantly able to create opportunities for coffee chat conversations so that the recall is much stronger. But this is a strategy that's not guaranteed. There's a lot of competition that's happening in all of the locations as well as the positions that we have online. This is simply a way for you to find a strategic advantage for someone to be able to remember you better. And hopefully that will be a good first step when it comes to having your entry be pipeline in the interview selection process. I hope that helps.
Yeah, if I can jump in and just add on what Oliver said, he did mention to visit the branches. Sometimes the managers are busy. You can give one more visit, maybe. We've seen it in the past where candidates come back 3-4 times within a day, right? Just remember that the person you're trying to meet is a professional. They might have a full week of appointments. As an example, I'm booking appointments for May now, as an example. So if someone walks in now, I'm actually on a meeting, I won't be able to step out. He did mention something really important, is be ready to be interviewed. We've done it in the past where someone walks in and we say, do you have 50 minutes? Let's have a chat. And that turns into what we call maybe not a formal interview, but an actual interview. So just be ready to do that, and dress to impress. Dress for the job you want, not for the job you like. You only have one chance, and if you're coming in jeans, well, that's not a banking attire for me, right? So that goes a long way. So just thought I'd add a bit on what Oliver said, but very well said, Oliver.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
In the chat, it's Aham, Oliver, and Zeed. I just added you on LinkedIn. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences. I'm looking forward to keep chatting and hope we can work together. For my fellow colleagues, this is my professional profile. I look forward to building a support network and helping us enter the Canadian job market. So if anyone's interested, please go click that with your fellow colleagues here. Additionally, someone else said, thank you a lot for sharing. My question is about how I can enroll in the mentorship in RBC, especially I have 9 years of experience in client advisor in banking, question mark.
Sorry, was there a question? I was accepting a LinkedIn connection, so I missed
No
it.
problem.
Me also.
It was just that they're asking how they can enroll in the mentorship program with RBC, especially since they have 9 years of experience in client advisor.
Yeah, I can take this one on. So mentorship programs, usually we don't host an RBC only mentorship program. We host it with organizations such as the YMCA. So stay tuned on that. We do have a mentorship program that has been talked about with the YMCA, not yet confirmed, but I'll leave it at that for now. We do host mentorship programs across. I did share one on my LinkedIn about 4 months ago, which is the Newcomers Connection in partnership with 10,000 Coffees as well. There will be a second cohort. So I usually share this with organizations that we work with, such as the YMCA, to share with their newcomers that may be interested. So once these come, I'll definitely make sure Haley's included in the emails, and then Haley can broadcast with everyone. But yeah, hopefully we'll have something set in stone, and you guys can join. On a different note, though, as you network and as you meet leaders across the organization, not necessarily just with RBC, but any leader that you meet with, that relationship could turn into a mentorship. Build the relationship first would be my advice, and then seek mentorship. If someone walks out the door and I don't know them and say, hey, can you mentor me? I don't have the capacity, right? But as you start connecting with people, maybe doing virtual coffee chats, maybe going out for a coffee. And they see potential in you joining the organization. They see your skill set. They know that maybe it's just the wording that needs to kind of be integrated into the Canadian job force, and they may proactively offer you a mentorship opportunity, right? So mentorship programs is a bit different than you seeking mentorship from a leader that inspires you. My only feedback on that is don't ask too early. Build that relationship, show them your skills, and show them your bigger goal on where do you want to end up with in a banking industry or maybe the tech industry. And then as you build that relationship, seek that mentorship. It never hurts asking, but you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
I would like to add something as well, if that's okay. To the person with that question, they mentioned that they have 9 years of client advisor experience. So I can't help but think in a situation like this, my actual advice would be that you can get the mentorship from within. Like you're already a banking professional. You've been doing this for 9 years. In a situation like this, what could help you more is peer mentorship versus a mentorship with another financial institution or another company or something like that. Peer mentorship could go a long way if you're able to reach out to a leader or a leader of a different unit or something like that, a different department that you're interested in, and finding out what is required or what their thoughts are, and just, setting up a recurring or a once in a while meeting just to get some insights and learn about their story as well, and what their advice to you is, could go a very long way and could be very, very more beneficial to you than just a general mentorship that in reality is more designed towards people who are trying to break in versus people who are already in and have been doing this for a while. Thank you.
That's great advice. I wanted to add as well that we earlier talked about the possibility of you going to a branch to submit a resume. Whenever you go to a branch, there's a display for all of the business cards that the advisors in that branch use to provide to clients. Those business cards are free for you to pick up. If you have the ability to send out an email to, let's say, a client advisor who works there or a banking advisor who works there, that's also going to be a great way for you to have a conversation around what is usually required during the interview process, how they got to where they needed, and how you can be more confident about your ability to transfer the skills that you've had in your home country to this country. And it only takes one person to believe in you. If you're doing all of this, presenting yourself with the branding, talking to organizations such as the YMCA, attending the workshops so that you can have your name out, talking to the people who are working in the branches that can help you understand the structure of the application and the job itself, then you have a very strong chance of being recognized. And you also have the ability to change the language that you're using to fit the needs of the organization so that they'll respond more positively to your application.
Wonderful. A lot of people are saying thank you, so thank you. There is a question here. Third time to attend this event with Salma. What changed now is I got my CSC. I applied since, but have not received an answer. What can I do more to be selected for an interview? Also, I'm an MBA candidate at Telfer, Ottawa. Sorry, my screen is really small, so I'm zooming in. Could you please provide a guidance for entry-level jobs that can help to learn more about the industry? Sorry if you were able to follow along with my poor reading.
Haley, it did cut off. Can you just repeat the Telfair portion? I heard the last bit, but not the first bit.
For sure. So the first bit is just that they've completed their CSC, and they have applied but have not received an answer. And what can they do more to be selected for an interview? They have an MBA. They're an MBA candidate with Telfer U Ottawa. Could you please provide guidance for entry-level jobs to learn more about the industry?
Awesome. Yeah, I can take this one. I'd say take advantage of Telfair networking events. Most of the times I'll be in the crowd. So come say hi. Entry level role without the need of the Canadian Securities course, I would suggest reviewing the client advisor role that Adham spoke about in his story. I believe Adham, myself, and Oliver have all been through the client advisor role, even Selma. So it is a role where you will learn the foundation of the banking industry, but it also teaches you a lot of other skills, working in retail, dealing with clients, and so on. For someone who's got the Canadian Securities certificate, you now have your mutual fund license. So banking advisor is where you should be looking at. I would say banking advisor is a role where it requires the Canadian Securities course or the investment funds in Canada, where you can actually provide financial advice regarding mutual funds and investments to clients. So these would be the two roles that I'd be looking at, more so on the, if you have any experience, even from outside Canada, definitely would recommend looking at the banking advisor role. If you have no experience whatsoever, and that's okay, could potentially explore both, is what I would say. Client advisor is going to give you the customer service skills that you would need to be a better banking advisor, and learn the base of banking. But that's where I would say. And to the stories that we've shared, the posting that you've applied for, whether on RBC Careers or any other website, there's usually a location. So maybe put your business attire on, stop by the branch and ask to see the manager to stand out and differentiate yourself from the other 3, 4, 5, 600 candidates that are applying. And as I said, Telfair events are fantastic. Your Telfair advisors are awesome. I manage and lead the branch on the University of Ottawa campus, so I'm very aware of all the events that they host. Most recently, the celebration and graduation celebration as we end the term here. So take advantage of these moments. They've got panel discussions. They had the CEO breakfast. These are the opportunities you want to put yourself in, and these are the opportunities where I hired about 5 people in the past few weeks from those events specifically. So hope this answers, but Adham, Oliver, please feel free to jump in and add your 2 cents on that.
I will just add a piece of advice that I use personally, and I advise people to utilize all the time, whether through mentorship or really just asking a question. You guys need to have a specific routine for searching jobs. Routines are good. Routines work, and they show discipline, and then eventually they lead to results. So what I would say is, any obviously RBC Careers website is a go-to place. All the employment vacancy websites online, you can filter by the jobs that you're interested in and you would like to apply to, and you can absolutely set alerts. You can even choose the radius of the vacancy from where you live, depending on whether or not you're open to commuting. So all of this matters. The other thing that I would do is I would also take a look at my resume. Like, is my resume structured in a particular way where it kind of like has or displays similarities between the information inside of it and what's in the job description? Is there a match? There's a lot of, like, I'm not speaking about RBC particularly here, but there's a lot of companies and a lot of businesses use particular platforms for screening too. So it's not just manually looked at. And those softwares, they kind of look at particular keywords that are needed in that job description. And if it's not found in the resume, what ends up happening is that resume might not pass screening to begin with. It might not even end up in front of an actual person's desk. So I would just say it takes time. I applied 19 times before I got into RBC, just the RBC, not even mentioning the other banks. So it does take time. It just needs that discipline. Like, I'm gonna apply to 3 jobs a day. I will do this every day. It takes 15 to 30 minutes of my time. And if I have everything ready, it should take even less time. And I have alerts. So if I miss something, I'll get an email. I'm looking out for employment events. I'm looking out to job fairs. I'm on top of my game. So whatever comes next, I'm prepared. That's what I would like to share.
And great points from both Zaid and Adham. I wanted to add that it's commonly the case that when I have people applying for retail roles with a banking advisor or a client advisor designation, and the applicant has an MBA, the major shortfall I'd noticed is that the MBA can sometimes be an incentive for your application to just focus on your educational attainment. But what we really want to emphasize is that your ability to transfer the skills from that educational attainment is going to be clear in your resume. Don't use your educational attainment as the primary reason for why we should hire you. Because at the end of the day, the posting has specific requirements when it comes to skills and not educational requirements. So this is not to say that you shouldn't include it, and you should be very proud of what you have been able to accomplish. Your education is most definitely an advantage, but if you're unable to articulate the education towards the specific skills of relationship building, operational compliance, team play, data analysis, effective communication, then it's still not going to match the ATS requirements of the posting online. There's a screener that basically tries to see if you use the verbiage of the posting to your resume. It also doesn't guarantee that just because you have a high educational attainment that we can assume that the skills are there that we're looking for. You really need to do the best you can to simplify your attainment into something actionable that helps me as the manager answer the question of, are you fixing something that I currently need resolved? Other than that, you may have all the educational attainment in the world, but we're not going to be able to do the arguing for you as to whether the skills that you have match the skills we're looking for. Thank you.
Awesome. There is a big thank you. Does anyone else have another question, or are we slowly coming to an end here? All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I'll definitely jump in if there is something. But thank you so much for the panelists for coming in and sharing your stories and answering all the questions. We're always so thankful as it gives a great insight and perspective to help all the other individuals looking for jobs, especially to get into the RBC. Thank you, Salma, for your wonderful presentation always and coordinating all of this. And thank you to everyone who attended. You know, we would just be talking to ourselves otherwise, so we really appreciate it. I have one message in the chat from Daniel who says, no more questions for me, but I just want us to add a giant thank you for the stories and answers, answering questions. Definitely a great insight into what RBC is looking for. So I think everyone's feeling that. And so thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks,
Okay.
Haley.
Well,
Thanks for having us again.
Yes. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. And yeah, we should all see you soon.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
you.